Hello and welcome back to Mapping Top Gear. We are looking at episode 4 today. We don't have a lot of things to look at. There are 2 different locations that we are going to be adding to the map, including one slight road trip where we'll follow Clarkson around, Clarkson driving around 2 cars. And that is actually the first item that we're going to look at. So let's dive right in. Alright, so we're starting here with an Aston Martin, and we're getting off a boat. Clarkson luckily is going to tell us exactly where we're getting into.
And here we are, in Cowes. This is old school Britain. Shops selling heavy jumpers, pubs selling heavy food.
Alright, so we're in Cowes, United Kingdom. Okay. Cowes, UK is actually on this little island down here, which makes sense because he was taking a ferry to get to here. So we can already figure out exactly where he's starting. It's got to be in one of these ferries right here. So we're going to continue watching and see if we can get any more context clues.
This is old school Britain. Shops selling heavy jumpers.
Alright, we're getting shop names so we can kind of figure out where he's driving, which, I mean, if he has been let out right here in the main little downtown area of Cowes, he's got to be, again, coming in on this side or coming in on this side. I wrote down in my notes that he came in on the East Cowes terminal, which I guess could have been either of these. Let's keep looking here.
Loves it. How much house can you get for that in the Isle of Wight? Really? So I'm talking about the estate agent window. What have you got for the price of a Vanquish then?
Okay,
that
so
house there, detached house, 3 bedrooms, lounge, whatever.
Pittis. So Pittis Cowes estate agent. So he's walking up to an estate agent little shop. Let's see if we can find it. Okay. Okay, this looks very... Is that misspelled? Or is that just abbreviated? Or is this just a error on Google Maps' part? Estate agents. It's spelled correctly up there. Whatever. Okay, so we've got this blue sign, Pittis. We've got a bunch of listings here, house listings. So this down here, I believe is the Isle of Wight. I believe this is the Isle of Wight down here. So yeah, this looks very similar. I bet you this is exactly the same. Blue sign.
Everyone loves it.
I can't read that.
How much house can you get for that in the Isle of Wight? Really? So I'm talking about the estate agent window. What have you got for the price of a Vanquish?
I mean, okay, what? I don't know if you can see. That says Pittis.
Then
it's a blue sign. There, he's in an area.
Detached house, 3 bedrooms.
It looks very similar.
Bedrooms, lounge, whatever one of those.
I think the house listings lined up like that in the exact same way here. I think it matches up exactly. There's also flags up here. Yeah, it has to be the exact same spot. There's flags up here. There's flags in the background whenever he's talking with people.
For about the same as the Aston. Would you rather have that house
Pittis.co.uk? Well, that's gonna be all over. It's not gonna be a specific location.
Good girl.
Definitely the car.
Okay, so I'm gonna go ahead and confirm, or make the decision that that is this is where he stopped, was right here. So his Aston, the Aston Martin Vanquish, was right here. He parked it right here while people were looking at it. So since that has been decided, we can now zoom out here and figure out where did he probably come into. I'm going to guess he came in right here because this is very close. The other option would have been over here, and that's possible, but I think we should take the more logical approach and say that he came in right here. Okay, so we have the first part of Clarkson's tour with this Aston Martin. Okay, let us continue.
That noise. Ready?
I mean, if we're honest, Aston Martins do
It
make
is a wonderful noise.
awesome
and
noises.
I love the way this car looks too. Reverse. Pull both of them. That's neutral. Push that.
So we know he's driving on the coast on the Isle of Wight. He's now going to stop and do attempt to do a 3-point turn. We're probably going to see if we can find this location.
Wait, no, still hasn't. Yep, we've got reverse. I think I've got to hit the accelerator. But I mustn't hit it too hard or I'll end up in the lifeboat hut. Doing about 140 miles an hour.
We can use that. What was that building
Before we roll
name?
into the Atlantic, I've got to hit the accelerator. But I mustn't hit it too hard or I'll end up in the lifeboat hut.
Freshwater Lifeboat Shop. All right. See if we can find it. We got to find a big blue garage door. And it's got to be right in front of a ramp that leads down to the ocean. This should be relatively easy. Okay, so I searched Freshwater Lifeboat Shop, and it brought me here, Freshwater Independent Lifeboat. And already, this looks pretty matched up. Okay, this looks like a ramp right here, and this really looks like it matches up. Let's go back here. Look, giant blue garage door, and then a little one. Maybe that was added. But it's definitely larger size of the building, comes down, smaller building. And it's the same here. I think this is matching up with this. So we will probably add this location to our map. Okay, so here's where the route tells us it goes. Now, in the episode, in the segment, he's driving on some coastal road. This is where it's going to be difficult to actually pinpoint where he's driving. And it's also possible that the points or the shots where he's driving on the coastal road were filmed after he went to that little lifeboat shop with the ramp. So I don't know what to do besides just put in, okay, he stopped here, and then he stopped at this place, this lifeboat shop, and he took this route. Now, I know there's one more stop that we're going to put in here that I think will give us some coastal roads, so maybe some of the shots used in between the first parts, maybe that's what was then edited in whenever they made the final edit, but there's just not much we're going to be able to do because, again, is there even a coast road? There's not a coast road here. So I don't know. Is this a road? It doesn't look like a road. It doesn't look like a nice highway road. Now, there is one over here. So it's possible that he came over here. But, again, we're just doing it stop by stop. So it's possible that they filmed some of that afterwards. But we do know for a fact that he stopped right there.
That means the Vanquish has to wade into battle with one arm tied behind its back, and that's a problem. Because look what's attacking it these days. This is the new Ferrari 575, fitted here with an equally new sports handling pack.
Okay, so he brings in a Ferrari 575. And I want to triple check to see that he actually drives the 575. I believe he does. Yes, I believe they switch. So they are stopped, and I put down in my notes that this is Compton Beach, I believe. Let me see if I can confirm that. Yes. That's so easy to recognize. Look at that. You've got a oh man, this is why I love doing this. Okay. You've got first of all, you got a parking lot, a place where you can park up a car, but look at this. Look how easily this is recognizable. This is why I'm going to love finding specific natural shapes of the earth from the show to now, because shapes of the earth are not going to change very much in 20 years. Businesses, buildings, man-made things, that will change significantly. And there's I know there's going to be points where I'm not going to be able to find things because in reality certain shops have closed or buildings have been knocked down, blah blah blah. But when you have things like this, look at this coastline right here. Look at that shape, look at that color. Now come back here. Look at that.
I'll drive there.
This right here. That matches up perfectly. Comes down and then goes back up. Whoops. Well, I think that pretty much confirms that. Yeah, that is awesome. Okay, so we know exactly where they stop, and it is this Compton Beach. Okay, and now this also helps us with what we were looking at earlier. So like he's got coastal road shots throughout the segment. However, he had not, according to, if we're looking at it the way that we're doing this, according to the directions, he would not have gone on a coastal road. However, now there's lots of coastal road. They drive the Aston, the Ferrari around. They thrash them around, go back and forth, and then finally they end up at a cottage or some building. Now, I didn't look this up beforehand, so I don't know how this is going to work, but we're going to put our hands back into AI once more. AI analyzed a screenshot I sent it and said to try Norris Castle, west of Cows. So, Norris Castle. This building, maybe? I've been looking for about 25 minutes now, and I'm not finding it. I mean, again, this is the problem, though, with the United Kingdom and searching the word cottage. Yeah, I'm about to give up. Yeah, if anybody knows, if anybody recognizes this, feel free to let me know in the comments. That's about all I can do because I am not finding it. But what we can do, though, is zoom out and we can look at our second route that we've been able to put in our map. So here in episode 4, we can see all the different, ignore the instructions there, but we can see the route that was taken there, or that was potentially taken, and we can add it in here where we see the route from episode 1. So with that, yeah, I've spent a lot of time on that. Let's move on. So they both get tested around the Top Gear test track. The Aston turns out to be only 1 second slower than the Ferrari, and I know Ferrari is the classic. Oh, Stig spun out the Aston. I forgot about that. I know that the Aston, I know that the Ferrari is the classic, the classic brand that everybody wants. Ferrari. Of those two, though, I like the Aston more.
And if you're interested in buying a second-hand one, there's a few things you need to know. In the World League table of supercars, Japan...
Okay, so we get a rare Jason Dawe segment here where he's looking at a couple different Nissan GTRs. And I think specifically, like he really only road tests the R34. He has a couple of them here, and he does a little history segment, but he mostly only drives the R34 and tests it around an area. Now, as for the area that he drives it around, this might be another time when I need local confirmation. The research that I did pointed me to, well, first of all, let me show you the screenshot that I arrived at. So this is one of the best shots that I could find that shows things in the background that might be useful. And after doing research, asking AI as well, I arrived at this location. Let me pull it up. I arrived here. So we are in Middlesbrough, in it's not North United Kingdom, but it's way more northern than what we've been in so far. A lot more northern, north of London. Let me kind of zoom out a little bit so you can see where we are. There you go. We're up here in Middlesbrough. Now, this is what all the signs pointed to. Like when I asked AI, it was very adamant that it was here. I sent a couple of screenshots, or I submitted a couple of screenshots to it. And again, it said somewhere in here, basically, somewhere in this giant plant area. So earlier, before I started recording, I was trying to find clues. I was looking at basically this shot right here, looking for this gray building. I'm not able to find this gray building anywhere. Again, this was filmed 20 years ago. It's possible it's not there anymore. What I did find, though, are these supports, which seem to be in a lot of the shots where Dawe's driving, or where they're just, showing the cars like this. And I'll go ahead and let this play. So these supports right there, where they all have that same, it's just like, piping and stuff. And they all have the one beam support. I was able to find a decent, I guess, example of that. And let me see if I can zoom in and find it real quick. So right here, there's no street view here, but this looks like the exact same type of piping over the top and the same type of support beam right there. So you see how it's got the triangular support beam. If we come back here, so if we go back to this shot, we've got a similar structure. We've got pipes coming over, we've got one singular beam support, and then the triangular extra support there. So again, and I kept playing around with this. Another clue, maybe, if this helps. Let me see if I can find the shot. So there's a couple of shots of Dawe inside driving around. There's one specifically where he's going around a roundabout. Okay, right here. So he's going around a roundabout with this circular structure. Let me play it so you can see.
Minutes! Fantastic bit of kit. It really is. Minutes!
So I don't know if that structure looks familiar to anybody. If it does, see, there it is right there. If that looks familiar, again, let me know in the comments just so I can confirm the map. I can confirm it and update the map. Again, I watched the rest of this. It's not a super long segment. I noticed that whenever Dawe did segments, his tests weren't super long, which, maybe that's not his fault. Who knows? But yeah, a lot of times whenever he did tests, like road tests, the segments weren't super long. But so what I'm going to do is, for right now, I'm just going to go ahead and assume that this area is where we are, which by the way, this location is the Teesworks steeling area, or Steelsworth. What is this called specifically? Yeah, Teesworks Steeling. I'm sorry, not Teesworks. T-Side Steelworks. Because I believe if I do that, it's just going to show, yeah, it's just going to bring it right back here. So yeah, the T-side steelwork. So we're going to just, we're going to credit that for right now as the location for the GTR R34 test. I'm just going to place it exactly where we were just looking. That little support, which was right there, I believe. No, right here, right here. I'm going to place it right there, which I know is not the exact screenshot, but it seems to be somewhere in here. British Steel Lackenby main entrance, which again, it looks like a lot of where he was driving is in this area. I mean, and by the way, I mentioned the roundabout. I looked at all these roundabouts and I could not find one with a circular structure like that, but there are a ton of roundabouts. I know this is the United Kingdom, there's roundabouts everywhere, but there are a lot of roundabouts in the area, like 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, just in that shot. So, and again, as always, if there's something that I made a mistake on, if you know for a fact that something is incorrect or needs to be corrected, feel free to let me know in the comments. I'll change it on the map on my end, and then you'll see it in future videos.
Later on, the Stig will be driving all of these cars round our test track and establish.
Okay, so there are several in-studio interviews that they go through. They interview Steve Coogan. They had a pretty long news segment, and then I believe this is the last portion, which is just Hammond, and I also believe the Stig as well, power testing rather, on the test track. Well, this shot is not on the test track, but the main bulk of the segment is on the test track. I don't believe Hammond stops anywhere whenever he's driving. Like, maybe he drives some of these cars off the test track, but a bulk of this segment is done on the test track. So, like, this of course, this is, if you can't tell, I mean, the more that you watch Top Gear, you'll just be able to recognize whenever they're at the Top Gear test track, because it always has these specific signs. There's always buildings over only on one side of the test track, and usually they park close to the buildings because that's where they bring in the cars from. I guess Hammond more road tests them, and then Stig power tests them. Now, they're all parked, though, at the Top Gear test track, which is more what I'm tracking, is when, like, for instance, whenever one of them goes on a road trip or drives from location to location, I'm more looking at where they stop so that I can have pinpoints to map out these filming locations. For this, though, I'm just going to put all of these in one category on the Top Gear test track, which I think will make it a little bit easier, mostly because I already spent a lot of time trying to figure out that cottage earlier, which was a complete fail, but whatever. That's why we do it. We do it for the game. So anyways, there's a Renault Laguna, a Ford Mondeo, Toyota Avensis, Jaguar X-Type, Mercedes C-Class, a BMW 3 Series, and a Honda Accord. Those are all the ones that he tests. And then later, Stig gives out, does power tests on them, power laps on them, and the Ford is the fastest so far. What is this one?
Than the Ford. Slower. So that's it. The Mondeo is the quick one to have. I don't know, maybe they've got all their race car engineers at Ford working on the road car and the T-Boy.
I love it. Like, you've got a BMW, you got a Mercedes, you got a Jag, and the Ford is the fastest.
And I'll be doing this in a Bentley. See you then. Good night.
Yeah, I mean, that's it. So, I mean, there really was only two things to put on the map on this episode. But yeah, I mean, at least we can say that we added another, kind of road trip on here. Let's zoom out so we can see everything. Because again, the idea is I just want to see red lines all over the place. Theoretically, I finished this series in the year, 2068. And there's just red lines all over the earth, like all over Africa, all over the Americas, all over Asia, and of course, tons all over Europe, as well as little red dots. just pinpointing all the different places that they filmed at and where they road tripped at. So, yeah, that will do it for this episode. Take care. Good night.
Okay, I'm straight shot like a pool stick on a cue ball, and my pool kick keeps me afloat with absurd folk. I keep swimming, ain't Dory though, and ain't got time for no smoke. I go right when they out left. When I speak truth, take a deep breath, cause it might just take yours away. And don't throw me overboard, cast away. They cast stones like all day, but I've been low, like Neo. That red pill's hard to swallow, but it's real though, and ain't shallow. And that's real love if I stay true, and ain't just trying to appease you. I got a mind like you too, and it doesn't have to be in line with your views. I have mine and they don't need no cosign. Now I'd rather be tangent. I know you probably can't stand it. Don't hate on me for seeing differently or call it wrong to call it wrong. But either way, I sing the tune of my own song.
I don't worry about what these people say. They don't really care about me anyway.
Oh, I know.
I stop opinions like I look to the matrix. I can't entertain it.
Okay.
Stop trying to press my buttons. This is not a game.
Not a game.
If you acting like a fool, inside my lane.
Get out my lane.
Friend, family, and folk at the same.
Ain't no exceptions.
Keep it high and by, nothing else to gain. Unapologetic.
But I'm not sorry.
Unapologetic.
But I'm not sorry.
Unapologetic.